This is the main interface for tiling a surface. On the left side, we have the area for switching between the different maps, and underneath that, we have the area for stacking the different operators. These operators will help us get the clean tileable maps needed for our materials. It's a layer-based approach, so it's very easy to go back, make changes, or even delete unnecessary layers. On the right side, we have the preview area of our maps. Let's first start with the tiling operator. The first thing we need to do is find the repeating pattern. In this case, it's very easy to spot. It's this one here. And now that we have that, all we need to do is pick the exact same spot in all different corners of our map. To make sure we have the right area in all corners, we should zoom in closer to the image. Let's go with this point here. You could pick any point you want, just make sure that it's going to be the same in all other corners. And now we need to repeat the same procedure for the rest of them. And let's pick the same spot here. Since this is a real surface, the spot is not going to look exactly the same as the left side, but it will follow a similar structure. Later on, we can move things around to match them more precisely. With that set up, we can go down and pick the same spot here. Let's zoom out a little bit. And we're all good. Let's do the same for the left corner. And now we should be good to go. If we switch to the Result tab, we should get a tile close enough to the final one. To see if everything tiles correctly, we can click either the Display Tile icon or hit the T key. If the border gets in the way, we can disable it by hitting the V key or this Show Guide toggle here. Most operations have shortcuts, and I would encourage you to slowly start learning them because they can speed up the process quite a bit. T enables and disables tiling, V hides and shows the border, defining the tile, and K and L switch between the full map and the final result. Now let's see how we did. The tiling overall looks good, but since this is a real-world surface, details won't exactly match the same way as a computer-generated image. So we need to shift things around in certain areas in order to get a properly tileable map. Once we make sure that everything lines up on the corners, we can fix the other areas of the pattern. This area needs to line up a little bit better. We'll add a vertical line, which will help us shift the image around. We can either move the point with the mouse, or if we select it, we can use the left and right arrow keys. That allows us to be more precise with the movement and limit it only in one direction. Let's add one more line here. And in addition to moving things left and right, we can also move up and down. That ensures we have everything aligned correctly. Once we're done with the vertical alignment, we can move to the sides of our map. The procedure is exactly the same. We add lines and we shift the area around accordingly. At the beginning, you might feel the urge to add many of these corrective lines. Usually though, it's not needed. You will notice that the more points you add, the more difficult it will be to adjust things later on. So when you catch yourself adding too many points, take a step back and see if you can approach things differently. There are cases where you will have to add more of these adjusting points, but always double check to make sure you're not overdoing it. Aside from these adjustments, there are also automated tools that can help us align elements very precisely. But in order for them to work correctly, we need to have a good starting alignment. We'll cover those later. The last step in the tiling process is ensuring that our edges blend seamlessly. To do that, we use the border blending option right here. But before we enable it, let's go to the view source mode and see how the blending is achieved. With blending on, The tile now extends over the tile border, and that area is what's taken into account when blending. So, when you enable this option, make sure that this extra border isn't crossing the actual scanned area. Otherwise, the blending won't work as expected. Now that we know that everything is set up correctly, let's enable border blending, and after a couple of seconds, we'll have a nice seamless result. Our tiling is now complete. We still need to go through a few more steps before the maps are ready, but the tiling part is complete. This pattern was quite easy to solve, but there are times where the surface isn't that easy to figure out, especially when you're working with smaller patterns like this one. These are trickier to detect, but what we've learned so far still applies. The principle is exactly the same. We first detect the pattern, we then move the corner points of our tile to the points that represent the same area, and finally we make sure that all sides repeat seamlessly. But let's see it in practice. Let's first detect the pattern. Here things look a little bit chaotic. It looks like it's a really random pattern, but it isn't. Think of it like this. Non-organic surfaces that are built in a mechanical way will have some repeating pattern in them. With organic surfaces like wood, things are different, but with fabrics and other man-made surfaces, the pattern will be there. It might not be immediately visible, but it's there. The area that immediately sticks out to me is this one here. I can immediately see it in all other areas, top and bottom. So let's build our tile with this pattern in mind. I will first roughly place the points to the general area and then zoom in to fine-tune the placement. Let's go with this top vertical line instead of the rectangle, and you'll see why in a bit. On this side, it's this point here. And then let's go to the bottom, and now you see why I wanted to go with the vertical skinny line. We're a little bit too close to the edge, and we want to ensure that the border blending option will work. If you use the rectangle, we would most probably be out of bounds, but we'll check that in a bit. And now let's zoom in and fine-tune. As you can see from the zoomed out view, I was a little bit off. The left side is done, so let's go to the right one. Let's go to the bottom and fix that here. And finally the bottom left here. Now in theory everything should tile nicely. So let's go to the final result by hitting L and then T to show the tiling. And let's see what we've got. We're almost there, but we should do a couple more additions to be perfect. Let's go now to the sides and see if everything looks good there. I'm enabling and disabling the border with the V key just to see if everything is fine. This is the perfect time to use a feature that will help us align all these little intricate areas. And we'll do that with this button, Run AI Alignment. This feature will go through the edges of the map and try and connect similar points together. So let's hit the button and let's see how the map will do. As you can see, it already matched several areas. Everything looks nice and good. As a last step, if we enable border blending, we'll ensure that any problematic area will be blended out, leaving us with a seamless, tileable surface. Let's double check. And we're looking great. Let's hit Submit Changes, and let me now show you another really helpful feature that will come in handy with some trickier scenarios. Certain fabrics feature extremely fine threads, making it challenging to scan them perfectly aligned. The Trace Helper line helps with tracing these fine threads, and this fabric here is the perfect candidate for this feature. When zoomed out, it looks absolutely fine, but once we zoom in, we can tell that there's a slight bend in the threads. We should correct that. So let's enable the Trace Helper line and go vertically first. Let's go in between the threads. I would say somewhere here. We shouldn't go too close to the corner. Let's try this one here. Now the system will trace the area all the way down, and we can already tell that the system detected the bend we talked about earlier. And now that the line is traced, we can see that the border was also modified to accommodate the thread. Now let's trace the fabric horizontally. Once more, let's not go too close to the top. Let's go somewhere here. I'm going to aim in between these threads. Let's apply the tracer line here. As the system traces over that area, notice something that wasn't obvious before. The fabric slightly slopes downwards. It's nice we can detect that, so we can correct it. Alright, now let's detect the same point in all other areas. So this area here is going to be the tiling point. On the left side, the thread is up, and on the right side, the thread is down. Let's do the same for the right side. Left thread up, right thread down. Let's go near the end, and let's find a similar area. Left thread up, right thread down. So we need to go somewhere here. Left thread up, right thread down. Add the tracer line, and let's go. If we don't pick the same tiling point, everything will be off. That's why I'm taking my time making sure that I'm picking the right area. Okay, we're good. Now let's go to the bottom area. Like before, left thread up, right thread down. Let's go somewhere here. Left thread up, right thread down. It's this line here. Okay. It's interesting to see how off the fabric is and how easy it will be to correct it. So now that we have everything ready, we'll just snap these border points to the intersecting lines, and we should be good to go. Let's snap here, 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 and here. Let's switch to result by hitting L, and now let's hit T for tiling. And let's see how we're doing. So far, we're looking really good. You'll notice there are some areas that are a little bit off, but we can very easily correct that with the AI alignment option. But let's first check how everything looks. I would say we're doing great. Let's check the vertical, and we're looking great there too. Let's go throughout all directions to make sure that everything is fine. And everything looks good because we picked the right tiling point. Now let's run the AI alignment command to fix the areas that are a little bit off. After a few seconds, we'll see these points snap closer together. And that's it. Now everything is nicely lined up. All we need to do now is enable border blending to take care of any unevenness. And that's it. We have a really good tileable material. Everything looks nice and clean. The next step after tiling is cleaning up the maps, getting rid of small imperfections like loose threads, getting rid of any unevenness in the surface, basically things that will ensure that the final maps and material will look spotless. We'll learn how to do these things in the next video, but before we close this one, let's quickly summarize. For a seamless tileable map, we need to first find the pattern of the surface, align all border points to a similar looking point, and then use all the remaining features in our toolset: corrective lines, the tracer line, and of course the AI alignment. And don't forget to zoom in, otherwise you might be missing critical information. And that's it. I'll catch you in the next video.